Hey people, welcome to part 3 of the 7-part series on Evony Age 2. We're talking about things that make players want to quit the game, and again, this is not to attack Evony, it's just to, this series here is just to offer some feedback, and point out some things that cause players to want to quit, lose interest in the game, whatever. So we're talking about, in part 3, we're talking about cheaters and exploits. Now, I'm an internet engineer. Um, I've been in networks for a long time. I know about software and all that stuff, whatever. Um, and there's always going to be hacks and exploits to whatever you put out there. It doesn't matter what it's written in, Flash, whatever. There's always a way to hack something. So, that being said, I understand that there will be exploiters and cheaters in any game. In console games, that's a little less. Um, Actually, it's a lot less in console games because, in console games, everything's hard coded into the box and the cartridge you put in there or the CD or whatever. Um, and it's kind of hard to write to write code that hacks stuff that's already, pre-compiled and all that sort of stuff. And you'd actually have to make hardware and hook it into the box, and a lot of people don't really have that skill. But when it comes to internet-based games, a lot of people have programming skills in Flash and whatever else, and hacks are just out there. There's always Flash hacks and whatnot. So we're not going to expect Evony to stop all hacks and exploits. But what we want to do is talk about, we want to talk about Radiohead Creep. Yeah, we can do that. Anyway, so moving on. Another thing that makes players want to quit or lose interest in the game are the cheaters and the exploiters. Now, these can't be controlled 100%, but things can be done to limit it. And for example, um, putting time constraints on stuff, putting caps or limits on things, and not just leaving everything open, wild, and unlimited like the Wild West. And whoever rushes to grab their steak first gets it. That's that's a little too Wild West, and all that does is really just open up the door for give an open invitation to exploiters to try to do things to work around, um, to get as many of these unlimited um, things that they can. So anyway, this part's not going to be that long. Just cheaters and exploiters. Um, they really discourage other players, and we hope that Evany's looking into that and doing things. Account sharing is another big thing that's part of this, and I want to touch on that because this is a battle game. It's supposed to be competition between players. It's not supposed to be players battling Evony or battling the Evony computer systems or the Evony program. It's supposed to be players battling other players. And if a player, um, is fighting another player, yet they're account sharing, well, it's not player versus player. It's like player versus, 20 players. It's like 1 on 20. What's that about? So, um, Evony really needs to do something about account sharing. It basically causes a player to be able to defend their city around the clock 24/7. While they're sleeping, they hand the keys over to their buddy. and their buddy, stands guard, or whoever else. And that is being abused in the game. That's just rampant throughout the game, and it really discourages players, because why fight against another player when you're fighting against them and their cousins and their entire family and anyone else who has access to their account? you know it kind of defeats the whole purpose of PvP. So it's more like PvMP, player versus multiple players. So account sharing, cheaters, and exploits, that's another thing that causes players to get discouraged, lose interest in the game, and quit Evony. And we hope Evony is working on things to prevent account sharing, and reduce cheaters and exploiters. Um, One idea for the cheaters and exploiters is just to put caps on everything. If there's an unlimited resource or an unlimited piece of something, where everybody wants to get as much as they can, so they'll exploit it as much as they can to get as much as they can. So anyway, I don't know if I'm making sense, but let's move on to video number 4. We'll talk about historic heroes in Evony Age 2, and why that's discouraging to players, and why that causes players to want to quit or lose interest in the game. This is Japan Pimp signing out. We'll move on to video number 4.